Hello. Welcome to the new episode on Three Friends and a Tiffany. Your best friends, three best friends, no guest today, are going to talk about something which has been doing the rounds lately. And this was a question, this is something which I wanted to talk about because I was in a very perplexed spot. I'm somebody, anyway, so I'll come. So we're
Thank
talking
you.
about Simon
I'm waiting
Simon
for you to
Biles.
get to it.
Simon Biles ka incident. I got the name pronounced correctly.
Simone.
Simone Biles. We just discussed with Simon.
You said
Sorry, Simone Biles. Yeah. ठीक है. हंस क्या रहे बे? तुमको सिद्धांत का मतलब नहीं पता था. टोपी पहना हुआ है. So Simone Biles. राहुल यूएस में है. राहुल की दोस्त होगी, जान पहचान होगी, इसलिए राहुल थोड़ा ऑफेंड हो गया. But yeah. So doing the rounds that she backed out of the Olympics. One of the few events, and now I just read that she backed out of another 2 or 3 events which were coming into place as well. So we just want to talk about that and
mental health in general.
Mental health in general and in this incident in particular. So, and I have a feeling hum thoda flack khayega, but I really want to get it cleared.
What's your opinion?
पहले एक बार इंसिडेंट का ब्रेकडाउन करते हैं. जॉयजीव तुम नहीं करेगा, मैं सुबह सुना था तुम कैसे किया था, तुम बहुत खराब तरीके से किया था. सो राहुल, आई वांट यू टू पुट लाइट if you're completely aware, or otherwise I will do it in a very unbiased way, unlike what Joyji did in the morning.
Let Rahul do it then. Let Rahul do it.
Basic hi bata, then we'll develop if you missed out.
Facts of the case.
Yeah, facts of the case. Apparently, so it was the vault, I think, that she was on, and then she, due to some kind of, it's called the Twisties, basically, is what she's saying she's got, which is gymnastics not being able to differentiate between the top and the bottom. So you can't differentiate what is the floor, what is the ceiling. So you don't know how you're going to land. And her reasoning is that's why she pulled out of the team event, because that one flip that she had, she didn't land appropriately. And she's literally the best gymnast that has ever walked the planet.
She calls herself the GOAT.
She does not call herself the GOAT.
She does not call herself.
Nobody calls themselves the GOAT. Only Novak Djokovic calls himself the GOAT. And Lewis Hamilton, maybe.
I'm widely considered as to be very good, like one of the greatest. And she's just 24, which is remarkable.
Yeah, and this is the second Olympics. And so in the team event, she had a bad landing, and because of that, she pulled out of the team event. In spite of that, US is still placed second. Now, the whole thing is now this entire case of the Twisties is when you can't differentiate, it's a safety hazard at the end of the day. You cannot, I mean, if you're not confident, what's the point? You're going to let your team down, you're going to let yourself down. You might even break a hand or a foot at the speed that they're going and the number of twists that they do in the air, going up like 10 feet in the air. I'd be really scared to fall down, especially if I don't know how I'm going to fall. So that's her reasoning. Now, the main thing is, yes, she pulled out of mental reasons, which is just one of the mental reasons that was cited. But getting out of the team event was the big issue. Individual event, that's a personal choice. Yes, you're representing your country, you've gotten there. And then if you're not feeling safe, it's fine. You know, like
it's on you.
It's on you more than anything else. Yes, to your country matters all. And of course, all of them are about representing your own country and patriots at the end of the day. But in your own sense, like letting the entire team down was the big issue. So in my opinion, so based on what I've read and what other podcasts I've listened to about this, I think it's
podcast suna Georgie, we had the reaction at the same time.
It's I think it's a valid notion. I think it's okay. At some point you have to draw the line.
We'll come to opinions thora der baad. We've just got facts abhi. But now tell me, Ishpreet, one thing. Why are we discussing this on Three Friends and a Tiffany? But
no, because it's number one, it's about mental health. And we talk about a lot of these things. So I think it's, we talk about anything. So I think this is a relevant issue that we can possibly talk upon. And also because I had a personal dilemma. All right. I'm somebody who watches a lot of sports. बहुत ठीक है ना. And when I heard about the incident, my prima facie thing was like the first thing कि यार ये तो quit कर दी, ठीक है ना. Then I'm like, no, that can't be the reason. She's won 4, I think, she won 4 medals in the in the Rio Olympics, right? So I was like, कुछ reason होगा. So I read more about it. I was just reading about the Twisties thing, which Rahul said as well. He's explained it very nicely. मैंने थोड़ा अलग से समझा था, but whatever. So I just wanted to understand more and more, and I wanted your opinion कि मैं सोच रहा हूँ मेरे हिसाब से and then I'll come to my opinion why I really wanted to discuss this, but this is my thing.
So it comes down to the topic of mental health, and also comes down to the topic of mental health in elite athletes.
Yeah, you can say.
We've covered mental health to quite an extent कि like normal people में तो होता ही है, millennials और हम लोग में तो है ये काफी ज़्यादा, and it's definitely an issue. But do elite athletes also get to use that as an excuse? I won't say excuse, but get to use that, or can cite mental health as one of the reasons for them backing out or not competing. That is the question.
Who wants to give their opinions first?
Ishmeet will go first because he's pretty headstrong about this. So.
Headstrong ka baat nahi hai. I have my reasons and I'll try to make sense out of it. So first thing, हम लोग का जब कोई भी स्कूल में इवेंट होता था, any sporting event, there used to be a qualifying or heats. No bro. Okay. रुमाल है, छीक रहा है. So there are heats होता था, याद है hurdles में भी हम लोग जब क्लास बंक करने के लिए कूद के आ जाते थे and all of that. Heats are supposed to be qualifying. So even if there was Alan Phillips, Ishmeet Singh Batra used to try to do the hurdles, even though he would make a fool out of himself. But just because I wanted to do it. Right? So the auditions are a place where you know, and when you, and now take it to any sporting event, all right? Auditions or trials is to ensure, and it's not like you trial 6-8 mahine pehle ho gaya, theek hai na? You're practicing and it's Olympics, and this time it happened once in 5 years. It's the biggest sporting event in the world, maybe after the Football World Cup. Right? So yeah, so you've been training and say you've been selected. You're continuously working on whatever you are. Now, the fact that she walked out of the mental health because she could have injured herself is very true. That makes complete sense. All right. My problem came when I understood कि this is something that she was carrying. मैं अभी ये भी पढ़ रहा था कि वो confident नहीं हो रही थी इस Olympics के लिए, even before. Like I was just reading, I read 2 articles because I don't trust. I read 2-3 articles. She was not feeling very confident. Now you're at the biggest sporting event. All right. Now that you back out or whatever reason, so chalo, let's put aside the mental health thing for a bit. If you're not physically fit, हो गया, you can't do it. But जब उसको पहले से ही ये हो रहा था and she was there, and here one medal is huge. It's not like a chota mota term. It's the biggest thing, right? So then when you back out, there was somebody else who might have done a better job in that specific event, even in that team event, or the 4 people that were there, somebody else could have gone and they possibly would have won that gold. Now consider another thing, Rahul, जो तुम point बोला individual tournaments का, if that's correct, individual events ka.
Yeah.
Now say what happens is she backed out of 3 or 4. Right now, jitna mere ko pata na, somebody else will have to do that. All right, that's completely okay. There are always 2-3 athletes combining, but the entire team strategy was built on her, any sports person going first. And like, जैसे कोई भी तुम F1 भी देख लो, 2 रेसर होते हैं, strategies different होती है. Like Alonso today defended so that Ocon could win, right? It was a team part of a thing. No, अगर Alonso छोड़ देता, बोलता मेरे को इतना मेहनत करना ही नहीं है, Hamilton जीत जाता. It was a team thing, right? So there also a huge change in strategy, investment, expectations का मैं बात ही नहीं कर रहा. Strategy, investment really got screwed up. All right. Now coming to the third point, where a lot of people that I read social media, like there were 20,000 comments, and at least I spent a half an hour reading because I didn't want to say anything for the heck of it. I read some, I spent 20 minutes reading the comments. People were just calling her a quitter, ये वो, and I tried to understand कि लोग ऐसा क्यों सोच रहे हैं. ठीक है. I saw some huge ass comment. Somebody, firstly, the point which I mentioned, मेरे को अच्छा लगा कि कोई और भी बोल रहा था, and बहुत प्यार से उसने explain किया कि उसको पहले अगर ऐसा हो रहा था, maybe she could have done it before. Now we don't know what's going in her mind. Whether that feeling came later on, the newspaper article might be saying it, but of course we don't know what was going in that person's mind. We can just anticipate to an extent. Now, if then somebody also gave these examples, कितना relevant है हम लोग अभी discuss कर सकते हैं. When LeBron James was 3, I was telling this to Joe in the morning today. When 2016 finals, Cavaliers versus Warriors, they were 3-1 down, and nobody has ever come back in a playoff final. All right, if they would have been like, यार क्या फायदा है, मैं खेलूंगा ही नहीं, the greatest maybe ever basketball playoff victory would not have taken place. When India was playing against, I was giving the example to Joe again in the morning. हमारा ये World Cup final था 1983 का. India was some good number of wicket jump before Kapil Dev came and he steadied and he changed the innings to an extent. That test match where we got a follow on, if Dravid and thing would have been right at the top stage, you're playing against Australia you're like at Eden Gardens, sorry. Yeah, at Eden Gardens, right? And they after follow on, they're like, karna nahi, what is the point? We've already been, our teams got out. You get my point? I'm trying to come to it. To 280 run ka partnership. A sportsman, I'm not saying you have to develop that elite and mentality. Of course, that's not something which everybody has. But when you're at that level and and the fact that you are not doing it, somebody else is missing out on it, I'll feel that very bad. I'll tell you exactly why I also feel that. I'll come to a very easier example. College में मान लो मेरे को economic honors चाहिए था, ठीक है? Some idiot paid, all right, for economics honors. He bought that seat or just got into that seat instead of me, but उसको US में पढ़ना था. I know people who've done this, okay? Economic honors का एक seat था.
मतलब donation देकर.
Sorry, bought गबन उसको मिल गया सीट, मान लो, ठीक है ना? उसने किया कुछ भी करके ये वो करके as a backup economics honors Xavier's का सीट, which is one of the best in India, ठीक है ना? वो 1-1.5 हफ्ता कॉलेज गया आदमी. I know this. 1-1.5-2 हफ्ता कॉलेज गया, मस्त चिल किया और उसके बाद अपना यूएस भाग गया. अब वो सीट तो बाद में रिप्लेस नहीं होगी ना. So somebody, मैं अपना बात भी नहीं कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है ना, मेरा छोड़ो, but there's somebody else, maybe somebody like a Rahul or somebody XYZ वो जिसके लिए बहुत cool होता, बहुत अच्छा होता, epitome होता, he's lost out on that opportunity because, चलो, I'm not drawing exact parallel नहीं है, but just consider the situation. So a lot of these things are playing into my mind, so I did not know what the right or the wrong answer is. Yeah. So what the right or the wrong answer is, so I just wanted to discuss that with you guys. These are my points basically.
अच्छा डिबेट.
काफी लंबा मोनोलॉग. मतलब even Shakespeare is impressed.
I hope he is turning in his grave.
Georgie, your opinion?
My opinion is, I think it's too direct conflict with Schmidt. So if you have like a mellow kind of an opinion to tackle him, it'll be easier for you to go first, I think.
Okay. See, I don't agree with his examples of, giving up, because I don't believe this is giving up. I refuse to believe that, because somebody who's, gotten there, there's some reason obviously that they're citing. It's not like she's given up because she thinks that, she's going to fail. Just imagine if you talk about cricket, you talk about different sports, you talk about 2001, tomorrow, if there's a very, very high risk, like I'm talking about over 80% chance of risk of you getting banged with a cricket ball on your face, you're not going to go and face a ball, right? I am not going to go out there and face McGrath or Brett Lee or some shit like that. That is stupid. Very, very honestly, it is. Right? Because I don't have that confidence. And if I think I'm going to break my face, break a bone, I'm not going to do it, right? Now, confidence, yes, she was lacking confidence going into the Olympics, maybe because of pressures. Like we talked about the example of Naomi Osaka also. Like having that performance anxiety, performance pressures, it's a part of an athlete's life. Some people deal with it differently. Some people can't. Maybe that was what her confidence was for, because there was hopes on her completely. She was favored to win 5 different golds at these Olympics. 5 goals out of like whatever 50 goals that the US gets, maybe like 10% of all goals the US is getting. That's incredible if you think about it, right?
और थोड़ा ये भी है, मतलब one, first of all, I think both of your examples are not like an exact match to what happened with her. With her, I don't know what exact analogy could be drawn, but one, you could think of a proper analogy, Rahul, if you can think of one. Another point that I had is with regard to someone missing out. Now you have to understand that only with regard to the team event, Olympics works differently than how, let's say, India touring England works. Olympics are these individual athletes who have fulfilled particular criteria individually coming and competing over there. So it's, let's say, कौन है अपना अंजू बॉबी जॉर्ज, लॉन्ग जंप चैंपियन जो थी, अपनी चैंपियन है जो भी थी, she was the India's biggest long jump person because she, as an individual, fulfilled certain criteria and met that criteria to crack. So any other Indian did not miss out because her bar was already too high. They never met Anju Bobby George's record to even crack this thing. So she got on from her own merit. There's no country quota. Like ye country se itne jana. Like many swimming competitions or even athletics mein 100 meters. Why don't you ever see an Indian? Because we've never had any guy who's they haven't qualified. So ये जो missing out वाला point है वो है ही नहीं. Apart from the team event.
And apart from the team event, because if you see the individual events, right, you see the vault or the floor exercise or whatever it is. Now that Simone Biles is not participating, there are some events where a second American cannot take part because they've not qualified.
Exactly.
You have to qualify for those events individually. And then you become part of whatever the US team or whatever. I mean, India also has gymnasts, but even if though we are not good individually, we might be good as a team, but you still have to qualify for each event.
Exactly. That's why you have that entire argument. There's a separate debate going on. No, that let's say if PV Sindhu wins the gold, whether India should be like, look how great India has done. India hasn't done anything. PV Sindhu as an individual has done all the effort. So therefore, there's that entire key, whether the country should be like, take the...
You know what I love? You know what I love what Indians do? When an Indian expatriate basically has some, genes, Indian genes, and they're like 4th generation Indian, like 5% Indian, with like a surname which is like Kumar or something, and they win, and the whole of India is just like, whoa, Indian is like, India is ruling the world kind of thing.
Times Square mein jhanda lehrayega, India wins the world.
For example, Kamala Harris, bro, she's a vice president of the US. There was so many things, like there's a lot going on in India just because she was the vice president. Like she has any obligation to India.
उसकी कोई नानी या आंटी या कोई है ना यहाँ पर somewhere she stays. Maybe that is why.
But what are we celebrating?
Exactly, it's a very stupid thing to celebrate. क्या कर लेगी? Anyway, she doesn't like India apparently. Plus she's got some, I don't know. Anyway, don't want to go there.
ठीक है, तो वो वाला एक पॉइंट, और वो जो दूसरा वाला पॉइंट है कि अबाउट एन एग्जांपल, वो लेब्रॉन जेम्स वाला, और ऐसा इमेजिन इफ लेट्स से राहुल द्रविड इज फेसिंग इन 2001, ही इज फेसिंग ग्लेन मकग्राथ's thing and his hand is broken. अरे यार, he can't lift up the bat.
अरे ब्रो, that is a very, don't you think that's a wrong example? तुम analogy का बात करी तो गलत है ना?
कैसे गलत है वो?
We're talking about risk. We're talking about
not even risk. Say before the tournament. Yeah, okay. Let's come before the tournament starts. He knows Glenn McGrath is there. He's then only not physically fit. He's like, bhai, mera mara pada hai. Okay, let's consider a more different example. Maybe Rashford ka. Okay, all of us saw the Euros. All of us saw he was battling an injury for a very long time, shoulder injury and an ankle injury. Okay. Now, for our listeners who don't know, Marcus Rashford is Manchester United's winger. He plays on the midfield, left of the midfield. He's a very good player. Now, he was, I think, using painkiller injections for quite a few months, and his performance also was not that good. We saw in the last few games, and which is the reason why he was not even picked up for the Euros. All right. He was picked up for the Euros. Sorry, he didn't play at all. Barely he played, like 10-20 minute cameos. Now, so according to me and what a lot of people also saying, Southgate the manager should not have even picked him, because they knew कि चलो इसका परा हुआ ये नहीं उस level पे खेल पाएगा. Rashford himself, when he put out this entire speech, he'd written the only reason he wanted to play was because it's the Euros. Otherwise, he would not have. He would have done a surgery, which he's doing right now, and he's going to miss 3 months of football. You know that you're not there, then you back out. It's fine. It's completely okay. Like, and it makes sense, because you lead the team down. You waste 20. चलो, I get the point about the quota. जो कोटा नहीं होता है वो मेरा गलती था. टीम इवेंट का ही बात कर लो, अगर सिर्फ टीम इवेंट पे आ जाते हैं, ठीक है, वो थैंक्स फॉर क्लैरिफाइंग दैट. when you take that, you don't go into the thing. राहुल द्रविड का बात करें, राहुल द्रविड का अगर ऑलरेडी इंजरी फेस करे, इसको बोल रहा है वो नहीं जाएगा, बट he knows you get into the team, you got into the squad, and now you're saying कि
but see,
so
okay, I have a good point. One second. You cited confidence, right? Right. Now you're looking at Formula One, you're looking at cricket. There are so many cricketers, people who go through a bad spell. They don't have the confidence. You saw Rishabh Pant, you saw Prithvi Shaw, but it's not like they're going to back out and say, today I will not bat. Nobody's going to say, today I will not bat for the country because I don't have confidence. Right?
Yeah, okay.
Right? So she went with it because even though she didn't have confidence, she's that good that even on a bad day, she would perform well. Better than average, right? So she would have contributed. So that much confidence was there. Maybe not as much confidence in yourself, but it's not like you're not going to go out there and not try. You will go out there and try.
Okay.
Right.
Your supplement. That is exactly my point, Rahul. अच्छा क्या बोल रहे जो?
मेरा एक point.
तुम अभी ऋषभ पंत का point, but you guys heard about Ben Stokes? Just to give more of an analogy, you know what Ben Stokes thing? He's played so much of cricket. He's like, भाई हम थक गए, हमको खेलना ही नहीं. Ashes खेल रहा है कि वो भी नहीं, आई एम नॉट श्योर. वो आई थिंक और भी वो ये भी नहीं खेलेगा, IPL भी नहीं खेलेगा, बहुत कुछ नहीं खेलेगा. That is something which makes 110% sense. Before the teams are announced, before the team is selected, he knows that he's done. He's got a finger injury also, which is killing him. He's like, bhai, I don't want to do it right now. I want to take a break. And I am completely in support of that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
First, 1 minute. First, you clarify whether I understood your example. Okay, that's a very lucky example. But another, Simone Biles is a little unlucky than Ben Stokes was to realize her defect a little later. Let's not even call it a defect.
Yeah, that's
but yeah. So I'm saying that first, one thing you clarify is that whether a physical injury is the same as a mental injury or not, or whether you clarify.
Good one.
Of course, they are. They are.
Huh?
In a way, if it can impact, yeah, it's that serious. If it's a physical injury, if it's a mental injury, I think they have the same kind of impact. It can rather have the same kind of impact.
Why aren't you putting them at the same pedestal? Right now, let's say Simone Biles' leg was broken. So then and her backing out is then okay.
Yeah. No. Okay. Her back. When is it backing out right now? After she's done two things.
No.
So before the event, if it's before the event, okay.
Same time that she had.
So same you're saying कि उसने पहला वाला round कर लिया.
Same time, I don't recall which time it was. Same time that she had this issue. Let's say she breaks her leg. You said you treat mental and physical at the same level. So if she backed out with, let's say, a broken leg, would then that be justified?
It would, for sure. Okay, so you're now trying to draw 50. Okay, I get your point.
1 second. I don't understand how you can have mental and physical are the same thing. Physical can be measured, mental cannot.
No, I'm thinking the severity.
No, he's trying to make the point. Good point, Joe. Actually, that's got me thinking. So he's saying कि अगर मान लो पैर तोड़ ली, ठीक है ना? Then if it's okay for her to back out, because right now, again, what Rahul point only said, कि we can't measure the magnitude of a mental health problem, right? Good question, Joe.
Situation.
Whatever.
Rahul,
we don't have to be politically correct
here. I'm talking about the severity of where do you place how severe is a physical injury to how severe is a mental injury. Ishmeet said he puts that on 50-50 equal. So now let's say if it's okay to back out for a physical, why is it not okay to back out for a mental issue?
That's a good point.
Clinching.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
This is called collecting yeses. I tied you in your own yes.
I'm glad because I told you I wanted to come here to get clarity. But say I think that to an extent clears the thing. अच्छा बोल क्या बोल रहा है?
तू सोच वो एक बार वे point पे थोड़ा सोच. I'll give you for the Ben Stokes wala this thing. Ben Stokes was just, let's say his physical wala finger injury I don't know about. I know about his mental thing that he was not ready. That's why he's too tired, fatigued. He used those words. So he was just lucky to have that realization. A little before the tour was announced or before the team was selected or whatever, and it was convenient for him. But everyone over here is looking up to Simone Biles, and for her to say that yes, I'm a 5-time whatever gold medalist, and I'm going to say no. Difference of Simone Biles saying no and difference of Ben Stokes saying no is a big difference, bro.
And I mean the timing of it obviously is unfortunate. But and you have to realize that today, like mental health, okay, we talk about it so much more now than before. You talk about it like 7 years back, I barely knew what mental health was. Let's talk about it. So now people are more aware of it. You just don't know when you're getting affected. By the time you catch it, sometimes in some cases you've dug yourself into such a deep hole you can't get out of.
Yeah, 1 minute. I have to take this call. Okay, I'm sorry.
He was saying 7 years pehle.
So yeah, 7 years back we didn't know so much about mental health, but now people are realizing it late. And whenever not realizing it late, but realizing what it is or understanding it and dealing with it in their own way. Some people cannot deal with it and have dug themselves into a hole which is difficult to come out of. And some people are realizing it early in the process. It's like getting surgery. Like for example, I'm not talking the severity is different, but for example, cancer. Stage 1 is different from stage 4. Stage 4 you catch, it's too late. Stage 1 you can still cure. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay. So people are now catching it in stage 1.
Nice.
People are more aware of it early. It's like, advancement in technology has helped cure cancer. In the same way, advancement in this mental health and research and development will help
good point.
Get through this.
What?
No, so Joe, I think that really draws a very good because it's really helped me also draw very clear thinking. Matlab, when we look at athletes, like I am personally, people ask who's your role model, all of that. I don't know. I can't pinpoint on that one person. And so I think I have multiple people I really like would like to be like. So there's one person who I really like is Kobe Bryant. All right. So after he passed away, people used to keep saying Mamba mentality, Mamba mentality. I wanted to understand what it is. So you watched a lot of his videos, a lot of his interviews. And I was like, bhai, ye hai. So just one of his sayings is like his coach told him, or some English teacher apparently told him, that why rest in the middle where you can rest towards the end? Rest in the end, right now, hustle. And and he and I when I'm down, I listen to one of these speeches or one of his interviews, and I get fully pumped up. Okay, na? So when I'm thinking from that, there've been a lot of stages where even with regards to what Kobe Bryant said, there were times when Lakers were right at the bottom. Okay, nahi chal raha tha, but then he still stuck with the team. He still pushed himself to the limit. I think he hit a 50-60 point game in his last game. Is still at his peak, even when he retired. 60-point game, right? 60-61 point game. What was my point? Yeah, you have that kind of an elite kind of a mindset, Renache, which I think should be there for any sports person, because it's such a competitive space. If you're not at your peak level physically and mentally, you will, and every sports person aspires to be the best. Right. That's the mindset with which you go by. So there, that is something जो मेरे को conflict कर रहा था. And एक और point है जो and I wanted to bring this to everybody's notice, just to not even clarify, just to put it out there, कि the fact that there was an injury risk, which I read also just before the podcast started, that she could have really injured herself because apparently instead of doing 4 twists, she was maximum being able to 2.5 to 3 ऐसा करके कुछ. तो अगर वो आधे में land करेगी वो गई, right? So if there is an injury risk, for sure you back. But मेरे को हमेशा से वही लगता था कि it is something you understand पहले से, because it's a process. But I think through this podcast, I think it's clear that maybe she realized it late. We need to give her that benefit of the doubt. And if it's a 4-time gold medalist saying that, then there has to be some reason. वो ऐसे attention के लिए जो लोग बोल रहे नहीं करेगी ये.